Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. You're watching the VSO Gun Channel, and it's great to be here as always. Thank you for tuning in. And many of you have brought to my attention that Pam Bondi has missed her deadline when it comes to the president's executive order on protecting the Second Amendment. Quick recap on that. Basically, go back through the previous administration, at least the previous administration, and figure out what infringes on the Second Amendment and how we can fix it. Real quick, cliff notes or spark notes, depending on how old you are. She has missed that deadline. It was issued on the 7th of February and was given 30 days to do that. It is currently March 12th. I need to go to the BMV. Today's video is brought to you by Excess Sites. I'm out here today preaching the good word of the Excess Big Dot site. If you don't like the Excess Big Dot site, then you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. I started using the big dots because I took a low light force on force class. If you've never had that experience, I could totally see why somebody wouldn't select that site, but it is my go-to site. They offer a whole bunch of other things out there, and XS has been a big time, long time supporter of the channel. So I very much appreciate them supporting the mission here at the VSO Gun Channel. Let's get into the video. Anyhoozle, the reason that I'm making this video today is really a couple-fold. First is to bring you all up to speed that this deadline has passed, and we should expect this any day or any minute now, really, from the AG. In fact, I would expect that sometime this week we'll probably see it. And when that happens, we're going to sit down and do a live stream together. I think that the last time we sat down and did something and really dissected something together, you guys really liked that. So we're going to use that format for this whenever it comes out. And of course, we'll do a giveaway. We always do a giveaway whenever we do a live stream. So I think that adds another dimension to it that's a lot of fun. So stand by for that. Whenever it happens, it happens. But the second thing that I want to do is enter my predictions, because if you don't predict things, then you can't retroactively go back and edit the video to say, I told you so.
That's why my prediction system with a 40-plus year track record predicts that Kamala Harris will be a new path-breaking president.
Ha! So I actually think that it being late is a good sign, and I'm going to walk you through this, not necessarily hopium or copium, and this is just my opinion. So take that for what it's worth. But if it was going the easy route, which is like, here's a list of executive orders and agency policies on a page, rescinded, signed President of the United States, right? If that was what it was going to be and only what it was going to be, then that would be something that would be an easy win. And it would be on time. And the reason it would be on time is because, to be completely honest and nitpicky, and probably a little bit unrealistic, when the president would say something on the campaign trail, like, if I win, first day, first week, first month, insert policy here, right? We all knew that a lot of that was going to be bluster and unrealistic, right? I'm not saying they haven't got a lot of stuff done. I'm just saying that the timelines have been protracted from what was promised. So having something that that was easy, that could show up perfectly on time, would be a feather in the cap, right? So that tells me that they're taking a little bit more critical look at what they're going to just flat out rescind and what they're actually going to do other things on. And yesterday we did get some news out of the AG's office that we have a new working group within the Department of Justice to basically go back through and look at people who should not have lost their gun rights, basically. So if you are convicted of a felony, like, automatic, your gun rights are gone, which is definitely not constitutional. And you can see that in the Rahimi decision. A lot of people got upset about the Rahimi decision, and I actually thought the Rahimi decision went pretty well. It basically said you can only temporarily remove people's rights. This lifelong prohibition on people who are not a danger to society doesn't hunt, right? So anyway, they created a working group within the DOJ, and they actually fired some people over this. You all know me. Firing people at the government makes my world go round. I think it's great, including the contractors. As somebody who used to be a government contractor, those people too, talk about a waste of money. I'm saying we've got probably 75% too much government. Get rid of it. Anyway, before we get on a huge tangent, basically there is a movement within DOJ to reassess, and there's an automated system being proposed for the purposes of restoring people's rights that should never have had them removed in the first place. And I hope that ultimately leads to legislation. While I do not agree, I think the system should be built on, are you incarcerated? If you are not incarcerated, then you should have all of your rights restored, including your Second Amendment rights. And people are like, well, do you want violent people who've committed murders and stuff like that on the streets with weapons? My response is, if they're too dangerous to be armed on the street to protect themselves, then they are probably too dangerous to be on the street, period. And if we built our justice system on that principle, then we would probably fix a whole lot of underlying problems. Quite possibly create other ones, but I'm just saying that is my flag, and that's where I'm sticking it. I think that it's a step in the right direction, saying, hey, there's a clear differentiation here between somebody who shot a place up or committed murders and somebody who wrote bad checks. Remember that Vincent case. I think this is a step in the right direction. Like I said, I like what's going on here, provided that it doesn't negatively impact other more permanent efforts. So I look at this sort of like we had the Office of White House Gun Control at the previous administration. That is what I see going on here. A system like this could be very easily revoked when the next rabid anti-gun organization comes into power, right? So while I think that the people who are positively impacted by this are probably free and clear, future efforts down the line, I would like to see this codified into law. And I know that they don't have the power to do that, but they have the power to lobby Congress with an agenda. And that's what the president is supposed to do. I also don't want to see this negatively impact pending court cases, because like the Vincent case, that case should be allowed to go all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court should say, yeah, that's bullcrap. This is clearly not what the founders intended. This is not consistent with the text, history, and tradition of the United States. The woman wrote some bad checks. That is absolutely outside the scope of what the government should be doing. That should happen. The DOJ's activities doing that should not moot that case, for instance. That's how I see it. The DOJ should also, in my opinion, when they go to the Supreme Court, say, yeah, the stuff that we've been doing is really bad, and we should reverse that. So this is an opportunity for the DOJ to help with the injustices that have been wrought by too much government over the last decades. Now, what that ultimately looks like, I think that probably there are a few things like the engaged in the business rule. I think that one probably just gets rescinded, right? The zero tolerance policy, that just gets rescinded. The ghost gun rule, the frame and receivers rule, basically, and the pistol brace rule, I think that those two are allowed to continue in court because they are very close to final judgment on those. In fact, one of them is sitting there literally waiting to see what the Department of Justice does with the change of guard, so to speak. As far as the other stuff is concerned, like the stuff that predates, I'm just going to say that I don't think they're going to touch it, right? I think that this administration is so focused on the previous administration that I would be shocked if we see stuff, unless there are underlying things that the previous administration used that were kind of started by the Obama administration. Maybe I see some of that stuff going, but I don't see any of the like broad reaching stuff from like Bush 41 or any of that. I don't see any of that stuff being touched. And that's just my opinion. I would like to see that go a different way, but I just think that this administration is so laser focused on the previous administration that they're going to feel as though they don't actually have to do any of that. Because you got to remember, this administration really isn't that much of a pro-gun administration, right? They've demonstrated that in the past, and I don't believe that Pam Bondi is really that pro Second Amendment.
You want them to take the guns and
When they are
not go
committed.
through 6 months of legal trials and everything.
The wild card here, the wild card is Kash Patel. Is Kash sitting there going, no, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this? Because Kash Patel is...
Do you believe civilian ownership of machine guns is protected by the Second Amendment?
Whatever the courts rule in regards to the Second Amendment is what is protected by the Second Amendment.
We shall see. Sign off on what you think in the comment section down below, and hopefully we'll see you on another video here at the VSO Gun Channel. That's all I got for you guys today. Unless Bondi does her job today, and then we'll see you on a live stream.